You name it, he put it in his body. Drugs, alcohol, hatred, resentments. And then one day, it was decided that he'd put the plug in the jug. Today, live on Recovery Monday.
Open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope. Open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, welcome. 3.5 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this, the 13th day of July in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and welcome to this week's edition of Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. You have someone that you know. Why do we do this show? Do I really think those of us that love Jesus are walking around snorting drugs and drinking too much alcohol? Yes. Yes. I know. Very un-Jesus-like. Not supposed to be like that at all. It's supposed to be June and Ward, Cleaver, not Gilligan's Island. But that's the way it is. In every pew, in every church across the land. Remember, churches should be hospitals for sinners, not a cruise ship for saints. So we talked to you about this issue that perhaps isn't impacting you directly, but maybe it's impacting somebody you love. Over the weekend, little barbecue outside, some friends. Some people came that you didn't know very well. You heard his name was Uncle Bob. And little by little, as the day went on, Uncle Bob, well, he seemed to be drinking more beer than you were saying words. And before you know it, Bob's on the picnic table. He's got something on his head. One of his children is screaming at him because he's embarrassing her. His spouse, she gave up so long ago. And his family's just madder than a hornet. But you can't talk to Bob, not when he's like this. The next day, Bob's fine. So you just leave it alone, right? Well, the storm has passed until the next weekend, until the next holiday, until the next case of beer. On this show, we spend an hour each week of your time. I know you got tons and tons of time, and it's all valuable, but I ask that you listen to the stories of the people that we bring before you. Jonathan, who is my guest today, he comes easily, but not without understanding the price. You know, there is a reason there's anonymous in one of the names that we follow. It's because some people are very judgmental. Some people don't get it. They're low information voters. They don't understand it's a disease. They don't understand that it's something that impacts us. You're a normie. You can have a glass of wine and it has no impact on you. For me, one's too many and 11's not enough. Now imagine that mentality when it comes to enjoying a beverage on the weekend. You know how many beers I had this weekend? 0. You know how many gin and tonics I had this weekend? 0. You know how many lines of Coke or vials full of heroin I put into my body this weekend? 0. I can't do any. I can't do one, not a one. You know somebody that's like that in your life. And today we're going to help you understand how maybe, just maybe, you're the one God put alongside them to reach out and save their life. Because this is a deadly disease. And while the 6 of us are here on the show today, all clean, all sober, my disease is out in the hallway doing push-ups because it's waiting for me to weaken, wear down. Oh, it's so hot today. I could just use a beer. One beer's not going to hurt. And there goes 1,898 days down the tube. A little over 5 years, just because I was hot and I thought I could handle it. So that's our program, Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. Let me introduce you to our guest today. First, my co-host and birthday boy. You going to tell us how old you are?
Sure. Let me see now. Was it about 70 years older than you?
I don't know. I'm 56.
I'm 63.
You're 63. You're a lot older than I thought you were. And clearly the youngest in the room. Her name is Kim Brangosio, and she is the head of Powell CDC.
Manager.
The manager of Powell CDC. And on the weekend, she is a big game hunter. Yes, if you're out by Big Creek, she's the one all decked out in, what do you call those? The clothes you wear when you're
Camouflage.
hunting. Camouflage. She's all decked out in camouflage. But Kim is hunting big game. She goes after bears and rhinoceroses. So slow weekend. I bet you didn't bring any rhino meat home,
Cats, no.
did you? No. Okay.
Just cats.
And, of course, Ryan is producing today, and our special guest is Jonathan Stearns. He's in the financial services industry, and he has 1,047 days clean and sober. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. When did you take your first drink?
At the ripe old age of 10.
10. Do you remember it?
I do. I have 2 older brothers who I'd say were just as wild that I turned out to be, but were, I guess you classify them as normies. And so my oldest brother, when I was 10, he was 18, and people would be around, and my parents would go somewhere. He didn't tell me I could have one, but he didn't say I couldn't either. So I'd walk around and sneak a beer or sneak something that was left over in someone's cup. So, yeah, I remember quite vividly.
And do you remember the buzz?
I do, and it was just a weird feeling, and I liked it, of course.
Yeah. Now, you said you had 2 older brothers?
I have 2 older brothers and 1 younger brother.
All right, and all 3 of them participated in the consumption of alcohol?
Yes.
And how about your dad and mom?
My dad and mom, my dad will have an occasional cocktail. My mom will have a glass of wine. But when it comes to our immediate family, I'm the only one who ended up down the wrong path.
Have you figured out where that comes from in your line? Is it your grandma, your grandpa, or where's the gene pool?
There is some alcoholism in our family. Both sides, grandparents, great-grandparents. But it seemed to skip my parents and my siblings and hit me.
Well, we're not thankful that it hit you, but we're thankful that you're willing to come in today and talk about it.
Glad to be here.
So where's home?
I grew up Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is 20 miles west of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I moved here in June of 2002 with a previous employer, and been here ever since.
So when they told you were coming to Iowa, what was your thoughts?
My first initial reaction was, you're out of your mind. And then I was actually going through a divorce from my first wife, and they said, okay, we'll fly you out. I said, okay. So I flew out here, and I'd known a bunch of people in my business that they had an office here, and just kind of looked around and honestly was amazed how cheap real estate was compared to where I grew up, and just said, I'm going through a divorce, drinking, doing drugs. Maybe I could slow down and come out here and kind of start over, and that's not really what happened.
But you did come here.
I did come here.
And you moved, and then you're very successful in your frame of work.
Somehow, in spite of myself, I would say I managed to forge a pretty successful career.
Yeah, you have. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But tell me what your partying was like. Because now you're single again.
Correct.
All new playing field.
Correct.
Kind of a big man on campus at work, the transfer.
Probably more in my own head than...
Well, yeah. Bob has the same issue.
Yeah.
Same. He walks around the state DCI labs telling everybody he's all that and more. I can't hardly deal with him.
So, I moved here and I was by myself. I was dating a woman at the time. I had gone through this divorce, and I told her, don't move here for me. She worked for the same company. Well, of course she did. That didn't work. But I'd met a lot of people. I was going out every single night.
Yeah.
Single guy, making good money, meeting new people. I had it down when I would leave my office downtown when I wasn't traveling as much. I could be at my favorite bar out west. If I left at like 2 minutes of 5, I could be on that bar stool by 5:15. And
Really?
I was there every day.
And what was your favorite bar out west?
It was Rookies.
Rookies. Okay.
Just a small little sports bar.
Out in Waukee.
Yes.
All right. And you lived in Waukee, I would assume.
No, I lived in Urbandale.
Oh, so you had to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of driving when I shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
Tell me what about alcohol that you liked.
I'd say up front, I just liked the feeling of being drunk. Felt great and carefree and didn't worry about anything. But as I went down the road of recovery, I really learned that I was just using that to mask issues I was having. So by the end, when I quit alcohol the first time, I made it 8 months, and then I went and started smoking a lot of pot, popping some pills when they were around, and never really went back to drinking. But again, I was using other stuff to just mask the same issues. And so it just was the escape from reality.
So you could
really what it
escape
was.
from who you were.
Correct.
Who were you that you were trying to escape from?
That was what I had to learn, and I'm saying I'm still learning.
Yeah, that's part of the process.
You know, I gave a quote once that I remember you wrote down at a meeting, and I was honored to be in Mac's book. It was, I was violating my standards quicker than I could lower them.
I know. I did. I wrote that down in my book.
And I read that on the blog, and I was just like, that pretty much was a synopsis. You know, I made excuses for I went through and did half the job I should be doing and worked so hard at figuring out how to do everything halfway that if I'd have just went through life as a normal, sober person, I'd have had a lot less stress and things would have been a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it took me 38 years of my life to learn that.
Now, tell me that saying again.
I was violating my standards quicker than I could lower them.
I like that.
Just justification for poor behavior.
Violating my standards.
Yeah, I read that online. It was about a year ago, and I just, again, summary of my life in a nutshell.
I agree. I mean, sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Violating my standards quicker than I could lower them. Wow. Our guest today is Jonathan Stearns. He's got 1,047 days sober. Now, if you have no familiarity with this lifestyle, understand that days are the most important thing for us to count. I will admit after a while, you're into years. I mean, Charlie had 32 years last Saturday at the meeting. I doubt if he knew how many days off the top of his head. And I must admit there's an app, and I do subscribe to the app because I'm not great. The app also gives us the 12 steps and the 12 traditions and all those type of things. But it also tells us if we want, we can put our sobriety date in there, the date that we got sober, and we can follow it. And mine is, I said 94, 1,891 days. And I like to know when I get up in the morning that I did another day. And I thank God for that day. If I thank anybody other than God for that day, I don't have a very good day. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like I've got one thing I've got to do right in the morning, and then he gives me a nice blessing all day, and that is I've got to remember to thank him for last night not doing it again, failing and doing it again, failing and doing it again. Because how many of us here woke up in the morning when I'm never going to do that again? Today's my last day.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Too many times.
And by 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it's, I got through that day okay. I can jump in there. All right, so we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, I want to hear from Jonathan about some of his handiwork when he was single. Well, I guess you were also drinking pretty heavy during your first marriage.
First and into my second marriage.
Okay, but you're still married to the second one.
I am
Not?
luckily and happily married to an amazing woman.
Yeah, but that's the second one.
That's my second wife, yes.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. Just call her your last wife. That's good. Then you don't have to keep track. I had
no response. You're right.
Yeah, it's like the Bible. You have a previous testament, and then you have a last testament. And whether they want to call them old or new, I don't know, but it's somewhere in the middle. So we'll hear from Jonathan on that. Now, Powell CDC is standing by at any time, 263-2424. And there are not little people there with white coats and zippers ready to run out in the ambulance and track your phone line down and come pouring into your home the minute you call up and say, gee, I may have a problem.
Nope, they're there to help.
Yeah, and you've got a fully trained staff of very successful people who know how to not only help the addict or alcoholic that's calling in, but also the loving family member.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing there. All right, when we come back, Jonathan Stearns and his shenanigans, as I like to call them, as a single married alcoholic. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. I couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth, 99.3, powered by webcastonelive.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Welcome back, 21 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock, 13th day of July in the Lord's year of 2015. I was just looking at some of the pictures from VBS. VBS is around the city, different churches putting up pictures of what the kids are doing and how much fun it is. And I got to tell you, if you don't have your child or grandchild enrolled in a VBS program somewhere, please do it. You know, maybe you're kind of in the same boat that I am. As I've got a couple kids who don't follow Jesus. They think they do. They think they do, kind of like their old man used to think he did. But I didn't. But they still think they do. And there's some grandchildren there. And, you know, mom and dad are probably not going to be the first ones to line up to bring their kids to VBS. But maybe you could do that as a grandpa or a niece or a nephew or an aunt or an uncle or just as a neighbor or somebody who cares. All the VBSs are open. There are scholarships available if kids can't pay. We'll have at my little church, we'll have like 9,000 kids over the course of the next 3 weeks. And that'll be on all of our campuses. The only campus I think that is not having their own, no, they're all doing it. No, Waukee, I don't think Waukee's doing it. I don't think Waukee has their own. So Johnson, Grimes, and Des Moines, downtown, and, of course, the satellite at Hope. They're there. Get the kids involved. I guarantee you it'll be worth their time and yours. All right, my special guest today on Recover Monday is Jonathan Stearns. He's in the financial services business. Coming up on 3 years, 10,047 days today without a drink or a drug. His sobriety birthday will be August 30th. And you started when you were 10 years old because you had older brothers who would get into the liquor cabinet or buy something and bring it home, and then you'd have a can or you'd have a sip or you had something like that.
Yes, sir.
When was the first time that you got sick?
First time I got sick?
From drinking?
Yeah. It was 8th grade. I remember this vividly. It was 8th grade, and I was drinking, I almost drank a whole bottle of peach schnapps.
Oh.
Which is ironic because I hate peach. But it was liquor.
Yeah,
so
and
I
it was
wanted
free.
it. And it was, we stole it from somewhere.
Yeah.
That part I don't remember, but I remember just drinking it straight and eventually just being out of my mind and just throwing up everywhere.
Now,
nasty.
Were you in school? Or were you
No,
home?
this was at, a teenage
Summer?
party.
Okay.
It was warm out. I remember that. I don't know if it was summer or just, end of the school year, but
Okay. How'd you get home?
walked.
Walk?
Yeah, it was close enough to walk.
Did you let mom and dad know you were sick?
No.
No.
I was pretty good at covering all that stuff up.
Most alcoholics are.
Well, yeah, correct. Correct.
We are. And I imagine, Kim, that's one of the challenges when you bring someone into Powell is to help them to be honest with themselves.
Yes, it is. I think it's very easy to be dishonest with yourself. It's amazing how much we lie to ourselves as well as everyone around. We start to believe our own stories that we're telling everybody about what we're not using or doing.
You know, it's kind of interesting because one of the character benefits of being a great alcoholic is you're also a better liar.
Yes.
True.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that many alcoholics, but I know the ones I know, and I think every one of them will admit to being a wonderful liar.
Yep. I think so too. And then we really start to believe what we've already said,
Yeah.
and then we can't tell what's the truth and what's a lie.
That's right. I remember those days. It is so good now to just tell the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are times when I want to, of course, it's not about alcohol anymore. It's just about daily amends and living it that way. But, somebody will say something, whatever. It'll be just so easy just to get them pushed away or, just da-da-da-da-da. But you got to wake up in the morning with that clean conscience. And we didn't do that very often when we were drinking.
No, and by the end of the day, I would just start over again and not worry about it.
Yeah. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just wondering about your parents. You were hiding it from your parents.
What I was hiding?
You were hiding the fact that you were drinking?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, at what age?
And then when I started smoking pot, hiding all that, and I got very good at hiding that stuff, for sure.
Well, what did you think they would do if they knew you were doing that?
I don't know, honestly. I never thought. There was a couple times where I'd say I got caught, and they pretty much just said, go to bed. And I don't remember vividly ever getting grounded for it or anything.
Do you think it was a matter of disappointing your parents, that you didn't want to disappoint them? You wanted to...
For sure. As I went deeper into a rabbit hole, so to say, and into a darker life and learned kind of some of what my problems were that drove me there. My father traveled a ton when I was a kid. He always had these national sales. He missed my first 17 birthdays. And I never really thought that had an effect on me. Mm-hmm. And then he and my mom separated. They're still together, but they separated 2 times over the course of my life. And I learned when I started really getting into sobriety, like, man, I hated my father. Mm-hmm. And I never really thought that. We would get along, and he's a man with means, and he did very well. The guy retired when he was 42. I mean, he did well. And so we never wanted for anything. And there was, when I was younger, it was kind of like, oh, you're upset, peel you off a couple dollars or buy you something. And that would kind of put a Band-Aid on my wound. So circling back to what you said, I don't know if it was disappointment. I think I got to the point I didn't even care. Mm-hmm. He wasn't around enough, and my mom, I had 3 brothers, so here's my mom basically raising 4 kids. They got separated twice, so she was exhausted. They'd be asleep, especially when I got to high school. They were asleep when I came home, and I was real good at being quiet and sneaking in and all that. So
you kind of felt like you were fatherless.
Looking back now, sure, but I didn't at the time. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. He and I are very close now. We've hashed all this out. I wasn't fatherless, but yeah, I think when I looked back and thought about it, for sure, I felt that way, and there was hatred there.
Did he play catch with you?
Some, yeah.
Did he take you fishing?
He did.
Take you bowling?
Sometimes. Not a lot of bowling, but yeah, we did stuff.
Go to ball games?
We went to a lot of that kind of stuff. He worked for a company that had, a skybox in Philadelphia, so we got to go to a lot of events. But
yeah, and my guess is, if I did all those things for my son, then I would have thought I was a good father. Well, I'm sorry I missed your birthdays, but you understand that, son. I'm on the road. But
right.
I took you to a ball game and throw the ball around a little outside, and I'll make sure you've got good shoes on your feet, and, I love you.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and I don't want to interrupt you, but it was a question of, did he really know him? Did your father know you, and did you know your father?
Looking back again, no, I don't think so. I mean, in the last couple of years, we've forged a really good relationship, and he...
Because of your sobriety.
Correct. Oh, I mean, my parents they're smart individuals, successful folks. They knew I had issues for a long time, but, I'm a salesman. That's what I do for a living. I talked myself out of everything in every situation, and, again, great liar. And so now I move out here. I've been here 13 years. My folks are out there. Well, they only know what I'm telling them over the phone. Obviously, if they came out here to see my kids and stuff, well, I can put up an act to make sure everything's fine and tell them everything's fine, and, they don't see me getting hammered and things like that. So that was easy from a distance.
Yep.
My guest is Jonathan Stearns, Financial Services. He's how old are you?
I'm 41.
41 years old, been sober a little over almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years here in about a month and a half. Started drinking when he was 10 years old. First got drunk in the 8th grade. Did you ever get in trouble in high school for drinking?
From the school, like at an event or something?
No, not necessarily. Just, was your cover ever blown? No.
Almost one time. And again, I talked myself out of it. I drove a friend home one time, and she had way too much. She threw up in my car. So I got that all clean, took her home. Her parents caught her, called my parents. And I guess I was sober enough to put on the whole act and tried to cover my breath and all that stuff and talk my way right out of it.
When did talking your way out of it, when did that stop working?
Honestly, it didn't stop working till I decided to make a change and backed myself into a corner on purpose, knowing I couldn't talk my way out anymore and was going to get the help. And what I did was, and looking back, it's stupid, but I kind of did some research. My wife and I were having issues. I wasn't
Your first wife?
My last wife.
Your last wife,
yes.
Okay.
We were having some issues, and she pretty much said, I'm done with you. You're gone. I mean, I'd quit drinking for a couple years. I'd say, drinking-wise, I was done. I made it 8 months, almost 8 months, started smoking pot. And it was just another way to get rid of everything going on inside. If I had pills or friends had pills, I'd take them for sure. And it got to the point my wife didn't even want to deal with me. I'd go to the garage and smoke pot. She'd just look at me and say, go to the garage. Because I'd come back in and I was so stoned, I would just sit there and not say anything. So I couldn't yell at her. I couldn't start fights, nothing. So I think that was kind of her piece to say, hey, go get wasted and just leave me the heck alone. So over time, it just, we're arguing and it wore thin. And she pretty much said, I'm done with you. You're gone. I was on a business trip in New Jersey. So she said, when you come home, I don't know if she went to her mom's, I don't remember. So I got home and cracked open a beer. Hadn't had a beer at that point, it was like 3 years. And just something in my head, I said, I got to get out of here. So I travel lots of all these airline miles and hotel points. I went online and booked a trip to Jamaica with airline miles and hotel points, all-inclusive place. So it didn't cost me anything. Moved all the money out of our joint account into a single account I had. I don't know why. And jumped on a plane and went to Jamaica for 5 days and didn't tell anybody. Not my parents, not my wife, not my friends. So no one knew where I was. You don't have cell phone service down there, so just proceeded to just get drunk for 5 days. And I'd been in this resort before, so I knew how to get marijuana and just was there 5 minutes and had marijuana and just smoked pot and drank for 5 days. Came home and she's like, you're done, you're out. And so I...
Was everybody worried about you?
Oh, yeah. No one knew where I was.
Did they have any... did they know you got on an airline? Did they know nothing?
Nothing.
Just
nothing.
The car was where? At the airport?
I took a cab to the airport, so the car was at my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be very scary.
Yeah,
Idiotic.
That was your son. You'd be chopping his.
I would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not sitting here saying I'm proud of it, but so when I came back, I got home and I went to the gym, and I came back to my house and it was just empty, and just it's an eerie feeling. So I just kind of was looking around and reading things and was drinking beer, and I had prescribed Ambien at the time, so I just popped 10, and sent a couple
And you're
texts, sent some texts to folks. Well, I'd done some research, like, if I take 10 Ambien, what happens? And basically, again, stupid plan, but it was to take enough to make me pass out. I sent some texts, and they found me and took me to the ambulance. My parents flew into town. I ended up in a rehab in Colorado. But stupid plan, but it was to back myself into this corner that I knew I couldn't talk myself out of. And my parents came to town and said, here's the deal. Boom, boom, boom. You're doing this. You're going here. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And being in this facility for 30 days, that was my bottom. I thought I had a couple bottoms before. Here I am, pretty successful guy, new house, all those material things that nowadays don't mean anything to me. And here I am sharing a room with 3 guys and a bathroom with 2 more, crying myself to sleep at night and just going, what happened to me? And just woke up, came back. That facility, we won't go into that, was just crazy. Came back, went through PAL again, and paid attention this time.
All right, Jonathan Stearns is our guest. That's where we'll start when we come back. The low bottom. The bottom you don't think you have. And then you get there, and you somehow survived it. So you can do anything. You're Superman because you beat the bottom. Well, this time, the bottom beat him. Conclusion next, with sobriety and smiles and a happy family. Live coming up on The Truth, powered by webcast1live.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do. What type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes before the top of the hour here on The Truth, 99.3 KTIA, powered by webcast1live.com. Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour, updating us on all the national and local stories, as well as Steve Dace, back in Afternoon Drive right here from 3 to 5 o'clock every single afternoon, and we sure appreciate you taking the time to listen. I listen to Steve now when I drive home, because before I couldn't listen to him. He was on at night. And I could listen to his podcast, but I didn't that much, I have to admit. But now I listen to him on the way home. He's better than I don't say if he's better, he's more angry.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I've been listening too.
Yeah, I just think he's more angry. Of course, he's got a lot to be angry at. Now, join Bob and I. No, are you coming up Saturday?
Yeah, I plan on it.
Okay, so Bob and I, we have to bring a pack mule, so we're going to just call Frank the pack mule. And Frank, and then Tom Coates, and Tamara Scott, and Ryan, you're going to be there, right? It's the Family Leaders Summit this Saturday. 9 or more presidential candidates will be on a one-to-one. They're not going to be able to rip out their narratives. That's not going to be acceptable by, at least that's what I'm told. I'm not going to let them do any narratives with me. We'll be live from, I think it's 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that, all day long from C.Y. Stevens Auditorium. If you want to get a ticket, you can. They're free, but you have to get one at the FamilyLeaderSummit.com. Wait, let me back up. I think it's thefamilyleader.org. You have to go to get a ticket because there's only so many seats and there's only so many places that they can put people. And so get your ticket. It is free. And make sure if you are there, you'll stop by our broadcast booth. We're downstairs with the USA Networks. We'll be live coast to coast telling all the people around the world what's happening in little inky-dinky Ames, Iowa, with 9 or more presidential hopefuls. And I'm not really looking to interview Donald Trump or Ted Cruz or any one of the candidates, because they're just going to throw their narrative at me, and I don't want to hear their narrative. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you think of Ted Cruz after you hear him speak, and what you think of Scott Walker after you hear him speak, and what you think after you hear from Donald Trump. That's the people I want to hear from. It's your voice I want to hear. So make sure you stop by the booth and join us. All brought to you by Consumer Credit of Des Moines. All right. Jonathan Stearns is my guest, 41 years old, been very successful in the financial services, been sober without a drink or a drug since August 30th of, 3 years ago. So that'd be
2012.
12, yes, 12. 1,047 days today. Took his first drink at age 10, got drunk for the first time at 8th grade. And he gave me a new Macism. He was violating his standards quicker than he could lower them. I love that line. That's an awesome line. Now, go back to for just a second to your first wife.
Okay.
Any children there?
No.
Okay. So was she also a drinker, a partier?
To a point, but not as much.
Okay. Do you have you kept in? Here's what I'm trying to figure out. Has she figured it out for herself, or is she still out there doing research?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's no communication.
Yeah, why would there be?
I've seen her a few times through a fantasy football league I've been in for 17 years. And very cordial, hug her when I see her, but there's no communication or relationship. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, without children, there really doesn't need to be.
Correct.
Now, when you and your current wife, your last wife, decided to start dating and getting married, were you two party animals together?
Yes.
And how has that impacted her these last 3 years? You getting sober?
She's a normie. She grew up, her father's an alcoholic. He's got, I want to say 25 or 26 years sober.
Good for him.
And he lives down in Phoenix. And, we'd go out happy hour, which turned into all night, and she would control herself, but not me. I probably always had a beer and a mixed drink at the same time. Double fisting, I guess, if you will. And she would just control herself a lot more. She's a normie.
Normie, yeah.
Obviously, it affected our marriage because I had come to peace with when I was out in Colorado for 30 days that I was getting divorced. And here I am getting divorced with, at the time, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And
this was after you got home from your trip to the Philippines or to
Jamaica. Yeah.
And what had you done prior to that made your wife say, "I'm done. I've had it. You're out of here"?
My attitude. Okay. Constantly being angry with her. There was some issues. There's a reason I don't have a Facebook account. I had some behavior that's not becoming of a married man, honestly. And you know, as good of a liar as we think we are, we get caught. That's just what happens. And you know, here I am trying to lie my way out of it. And she had enough. And I can't blame her. Okay. She had enough.
So you had given her more than she deserved to take.
She took way more than any individual should ever take, and you know, she had her boiling point, and you can't fault her for that.
And so she gets home. You get home from your little 5-day excursion to Jamaica, and your house is empty.
Correct. She had. I'm not sure where she was, but I mean, she was basically like, "You're not seeing the kids." You know, I filed for divorce or retained an attorney, and I was just like, I got to do something. And that's when I popped those Ambien, sent some texts. Again, tried to set it up so I knew I'd be found. And luckily I was. And my parents were in town the next day. And just basically it was laid out in front of me that you don't get a choice. And I tried to lay it out to them like, look, could I have died? Probably. But it was worth the risk, because if I didn't do this, I was going to die. I was going to be back drinking again, doing more drugs than ever in one way or another. I was going to either deteriorate my body to where I died, or I was probably going to get in the car and kill someone, if not myself.
Now, I know that the manufacturers of Ambien have since changed the components of Ambien. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Well, 10, 12, 15 years ago, the Ambien that you got is different than the Ambien you get today. And that Ambien 10, 12, 15 years ago was horrible. It was blackout. I'd take one of those because it was a sleeping pill.
Correct.
And I'd take 1 or 2 of those at bedtime, and you add a liter of gin that I had just drank, and my wife would find me literally in the middle of the night cutting up meat and cooking it on the stove.
Right.
Or I'd go somewhere, and I'd have no flippin' idea that I had just left the house.
Right. And that's still a problem today.
I was going to say.
With Ambien?
Yes.
Yep.
So even the toned down one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't know they had changed it. It's still something that we really caution people about, because it's very dangerous. Even by itself, people can seem to take too much or.
Well, it's a narcotic.
Yes.
It's a, what do they call that? Stage? No, not stage.
Well, it's Zolpidem. It's not really narcotic, but it does have a lot of effects on people. And when I was in the laboratory, we had a lot of those cases coming in where people were abusing it. Or even if you don't sleep long enough, it could have effects on you psychologically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a good 8 hours. If you're sober and you take one, you literally have to have a good 8 hours you could sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember how terrible. I mean, I would have no concept of what I had done, what I had said. You know, I'm sure our wives could exchange note cards on this.
Yeah.
All right, and so you're in a recovery center in Colorado, and you said that didn't work?
It did not work. I found it. I was just looking around. I'd been to PAL once before, and honestly, I just said, okay, I got to clean myself up. But I didn't. Again, I'd stopped drinking, but then I was using other substances to just mask the same issues. Well, the issues were still there. So the problem wasn't solved. And honestly, I probably didn't pay enough attention. You know, I just, all right, go through the motions, get it done. At that time, I'd say make my wife and my family happy.
So you were hoping to keep your marriage together?
Yeah, sure.
Had you been told that was a possibility if you went through this treatment center?
Well, at that point, we were still, there was issues, but there was no talk of divorce. I mean, I had come home just hammered one day and just kind of broke down. I was like, I really need help. And so I went and obviously got the drinking help, but didn't kick the other stuff. And then, so when we went down the path we went down where we almost got divorced, I mean, she had just had enough and said, I'm done.
Losing everything, his family, his wife, all for what? A high. And if you're not an addict or an alcoholic, I know you can't understand that and be so thankful you're not. But you probably know somebody and they're probably looking for you to help. Maybe they don't say it out loud. Maybe they just say it to themselves. When we come back next, Jonathan Stearns today, 1,047 days clean and sober. What a delightful man he is. We'll talk to him next.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
10 minutes for the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at the top, and then 3:03. The Steve Deace back live here in the afternoon drive slot on 99.3 KTIA. Jonathan Stearns is my guest today, financial services, 41 years old. First took a drink at age 10 and kept drinking till he was 38. And basically, you were sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Correct.
You had 3 babies at home, and one literally under 1, 1 under 2, and 1 under 4.
Yeah, 2, 4, and newborn. Yep.
Yeah. And your wife said, that's it, I'm done. Go to rehab. You go to rehab. You come home. What, you go back out
She was
again?
done whether I was going to rehab or not.
Okay.
I mean, she was done.
All right.
And obviously, as my head cleared as good as it could that quickly, I realized she was done. And, you know, I would call and talk to the kids. She didn't really have anything to say to me. And I would write letters. And then over that time, I just said, hey, I'm 100% at fault for this. And I put us here and me here. And I was accepting of that divorce. And I came back and went back through PAL and actually paid attention this time to the whole medical aspect of it. And it's a disease. And, you know, things just kind of clicked. And you can't, we all know this, you can't sit there and make promises to anyone because our word doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, right.
And so I just had to prove it. So I was living with my brother. She was in the house with the kids. And I was living with my brother for 3 or 4 months. And then, you know, we would talk. She had been a stay-at-home mom but got a job. And so I would come and watch the kids. We interacted civilly and just kind of slowly as she saw small changes. And I can't speak 100% for her, just kind of melted back together. And, you know, kind of dated, I guess, a little. And I think it was around Christmas time, she just said, I'd like you to come home. And she had my wedding ring and handed it back to me because I'd taken it off. And, you know, the best is yet to come. We just, I'm very, very thankful and blessed to have her because if she would have left, no one to blame but me. I mean, and we just had a baby 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So now I have 7, 5, 3, and a newborn.
Wow.
So, yeah, we got...
Girls, boys, what are they?
I have a 7-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, a 3-year-old little girl, and the newborn's a girl.
So 2 girls and 2 boys.
Yes, sir.
And you named the little girl Grace because that's the only way you would have had her, right?
We did not, honestly. That was on our list. We named her Ryan.
Ryan, okay.
We did. But Grace was on the list.
Well, you know, we always need to be reminded of what got us here, and it certainly isn't anything we do. It's God's grace. So do you think if she had not taken you back, you would have been out on the street again?
I'd say there would have been a small chance of that, but I'd say no. I mean, when I'm crying myself to sleep at night in Colorado in this facility with nothing, I mean, they didn't allow you to have anything, nothing. They said I could bring my iPod. Well, it had a little camera on the back, so they took it from me. I had nothing. And you're going from thinking whether you did or not having everything to having nothing. Very humbling.
Yeah.
And you're being told what to do, when to eat, where to go. I'm a 38-year-old man who, in a sales role, travels in a territory and has a lot of freedom, and I had no freedom. And so I'd say probably 10, 12 days into it, you know, I'm crying myself to sleep just going, this is the bottom of the bottom. I don't ever want this feeling again, you know, and just something clicked.
Right.
But no one was going to tell me that until I realized that myself.
All right, so there's a man out there today, and he's listening, and there's similarities. Who knows what it is? Maybe it's age, maybe it's kids, maybe it's whatever it is. But he hasn't surrendered yet. What do you say to him?
That's a tough one, and I get asked this more and more because we all are aware that they're not going to do anything till they're ready. Honestly, I've had examples of this through our 12-step program where I get phone numbers and things, and I'm ready and this and that, and then you see them and they're drunk or something, and I just say, you know what, I'm here for you. You call me when you're ready. I don't care if it's 2 a.m.
Right.
If you were sober and you went and got drunk, I'm not mad at you.
Right.
You know, your higher power's not mad at you.
Right.
We accept you back with open arms. Because you sit down and you talk to people, a lot of people have had relapses.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not uncommon. It's not, for someone on the outside looking in, this isn't an easy thing.
Yeah, I remember when I first got in, have you ever relapsed? Well, no. Of course I haven't. Because I never quit.
Right.
And then I remembered about a year before I quit, one of my best friends, her and her husband were just on me. I mean, just on me. I was a very large you-know-what all the time. I went 21 days, so that's 3 weeks without a drink. And what did I do? I invited all my friends out for martinis. Because I thought, well, I made it 21 days.
There you go.
Well, I was white-knuckling it for 21 days. I wish I had the program at that point, because that 21 days now would be added on to the whatever I have now.
Well, what they taught us, your relapse is over when you take the drink. You know, you had your quote-unquote relapse before that. It's everything leading up to it. And
yeah, they say that you already know you're going to drink.
Yep.
The situation, what does that mean? How does that work?
Your mind, your actions, all the things that lead up to it, they've already changed, and you're already starting to plan ahead and think ahead.
And I lived that right before I went to Jamaica. I was on a business trip, and we had a new boss, and he's since gone from our company, and I wasn't a fan of his, and he wasn't a fan of mine because he saw me melting down, you know, and I was just like, I can't wait to get rid of this guy and get home. I'm going to have a drink. I knew it. Yeah. And I walked in my door. I knew no one was home. We have a little bar in our basement, walked right down, and we have friends over a lot, so there's beer in there. But I hadn't touched any in the 2 years we'd lived there. Just walked right down, cracked a beer and had a few, smoked some pot, went to bed, got in a cab, and took off for Jamaica. I knew that whole week I was going to go home and have a beer. I knew it.
Well, Jonathan, I'm glad you're sober.
Thank you.
As I'm sure your wife and 4 children are. And thanks for sharing yourself in the meetings that you and I share. You're fresh.
Thank you.
Even at 3 years, you're fresh. And every time you choose to speak or somebody chooses you, I always perk my ears up because I know it's going to be one of those good ones.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here, and you're welcome back anytime you want.
Appreciate it. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'd love to have you and your wife on together sometime.
I think she would come, for
sure. She'd ever consider that.
She's shy, but since it's not like a big TV production, she would probably come on.
Yeah.
Just tell her these cameras don't work, and she'll be fine.
Sure, yeah. we'll turn off the big one up here.
Yeah, right.
All right. Bob's glad to do this on your birthday. Do you want to go out and get a cupcake or something, or are you okay?
I'm okay.
Are you? I got a gift card to Cheesecake Factory here. You want to take it?
No, thanks.
Okay. I'd be in trouble with my wife if you said yes. Kim, thanks for filling in for Lila the last couple weeks. You're welcome anytime.
Thanks.
We have lots more chairs. We have more microphones. Your smiling face is always welcome. All right, Ryan, thanks for producing. As always, you did a great job. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, yep. Thanks for listening. Man, I'm 56 years old and I've been doing this for 45 years, and I can't begin to tell you how much I enjoy spending part of my day with you. Tonight, yep, you know what I'm going to say. Find somebody you need to forgive. You know you need to forgive them. It's just been eating your lunch every day. Tonight on your knees, give that. Give it up. Surrender it. Because as you forgive, you will be forgiven. I'll see you in church.
Restoring